You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turn a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason of that?
In my youth, said the sage as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. But the use of this ointment one shilling a box allow me to sell you a couple.
You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones in the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it?
In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life.
You are old, said the youth. One would hardly suppose that your eyes are as steady as ever. Yet you balance an eel on the end of your nose. What made you so awfully clever?
I've answered 3 questions, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourselves airs. Do you think I can listen to such stuff all day? Be off, or I'll kick you down the stairs.
Good job, boys. Give Rima and Shatuj a big hand. Big round of applause for our father and son. That's all for right now. We'll do our spelling test, and it looks like Rashi and Darshika might be wanting to do it. Maybe after our test, we can have you do it. So let's move on to our test now. Who is ready to go with their page number to 29? It's understandable, Shatiz. You were quite busy. Oh, Arima, you were saying the poem and you're already finished. Well done. Okay, for a spelling test today, we need to be in a good, ready position with your feet on the floor and your blocks stacked. Head held high. Drishya and Darshika, what wonderful posture you have. Arjun, Krish, that is an excellent writing position. Whoa, Saisanov, your head's so high I can only see your chin.
It's like the bearing reins from Black Beauty.
Oh no, not those bearing reins. Oh, they're so painful. Oh, I think I could last about 5 minutes with those.
How do I write with my head this high?
Yep, I don't think it's very practical to write with your chin up there, but you do want to stack your blocks.
You have to keep your face, direct, not like
your head should be right on top of your spine, and your back should be pretty straight. Great, ready positions. Adarsh, are you able to write with your binder on the desk so that you can have better handwriting? You can? That'd be great. Rihanna, we're going to practice the very best handwriting. Right? Please show me your very best handwriting on the spelling test today. Yes, there are times when, unfortunately, you get counted off for a word because it looks wrong, even though I know you know how to spell it. So please show me your best handwriting. Okay, let's begin. Word 1 today is principal, as in the principal of a school. Kind of like the teacher's teacher. More like a teacher's boss, but principal. Number 2 is the other type of principle. Rules to live by, like our honor code. It's also like principal elements. Okay. Word 1, principal, like the principal of a school. Word 2, principal, like principal elements. Word 3 is testimony. Testimony. A testimony is your personal story. Testimony. Word 4 is discuss. Discuss. Am I moving a little too fast? Okay. I'll slow down a little bit. It looks like a few people need it slower. Devansh, did you write number 4, discuss? Okay. So far you should have principle, principle, testimony, and now discuss. Sai, do you know what the next one is?
I already wrote it also, discussion.
You got it. Discussion. You're always really great at connecting words and thinking of what they are with prefixes and suffixes. Word 5, discussion. Thumbs up if you are done with your 5 words so far. Once again, you don't have to mark these, but you can if it helps you. Okay. Word 6, arrange. Arrange. Arrange the planets in order of closest to the sun to farthest away from the sun. Arrange. Could you do it, Drisha?
Arrangement.
Ah, nice. That will be the next word. Arrangement. Number 7 is arrangement. Okay. I gave a flower arrangement to my mom for Mother's Day. Arrangement. Or like a seating arrangement. Okay. 7 words so far. Who's done with all 7? Number 6 is arrange. Number 7, arrangement. Number 8 is reference. It comes from the base word refer. Reference. She made reference to what the governor said. Reference. Or in the story of the Aeneid, he makes reference to Romulus and Remus. Reference is number 8. Word 9 is evidence. Evidence. Sherlock Holmes likes to look for evidence to help him solve mysteries. Evidence. Looking for some evidence. It's a good Sherlock Holmes impression, Drisha. Arima?
No, I was raising my hand for a question for something later.
Okay, can we get to it at the end of the test then?
Yeah.
Okay. Next word is experience. Number 10, experience. Like her experience in sports includes playing soccer and baseball. Experience. Experience. Who's ready for number 11? Krish?
Number 11, secretary?
You got it. Number 11 is secretary. The secretary oftentimes sits at the front of a building to welcome people. Secretary. Next is number 12. Being a secretary is a type of what? Darshika?
It's in career. It's career.
Good. Career, that's right. A career is a job or line of work, like being an engineer or a doctor. Career. Number 13 is session. Session. Like this is a live learning session. Session. Oh. Number 14 is next. Height. As in, his height was 6 feet. Height. Means how tall someone or something is. I know a lot of you know what's next. Arjun, what is the next word?
Weight.
You got it. Weight, as in how much something weighs. Not, wait, don't tell me yet. Not that type of weight. But his weight was 5,000 pounds. Oh, must be one of those cyclopses. Or an elephant. Or a woolly mammoth. Or what was that other type of animal similar to a mammoth from Native Americans? Chris, do you remember what that was?
Musk ox.
Musk ox, and what was the other one?
Can I say
Mastodon.
Mastodon? Rima said it.
Mastodon, that's
Mastodon.
right, Mastodon.
Like, it's also like a T-Rex.
Or maybe a T-Rex, yeah. Okay, so height and weight. Those should be very close in spelling, even though they sound different. Take a moment to stand up and stretch if you need to. Get your eyes off of the computer and your paper for a little bit. Give your eyes a break. You could do a few jumping jacks, like Krish and Grisha are doing already. And Darshika also has her little elliptical machine whenever she wants to use that too. She can do a little 30-second exercise. Okay, who's ready to keep going? What? Science-Enough? Why do you need more of a break? Rashi, let's keep going. The sooner we finish the test, the faster we finish class. Right? And the faster your 4-day weekend starts. Right? Oh, you guys are so lucky. Okay, let's move on to number 16. Number 16 is apparent. Like apparently, that type of apparent, not my dad is a parent. This type of apparent means obvious or very clear. It's apparent that we are going to stay inside today because the roads are still icy. Apparent. Word 17 is campaign. Campaign. Please write campaign. As in, the presidential candidate had a campaign so that people could know what he stood for. Campaign. Who's ready for number 18? Let's hold off on questions right now or comments. I can tell Adarsh is ready to keep going. Number 18 is cereal, like breakfast cereal. Ooh. Cereal. Okay, number 19 and 20 go together. Column and columns. Oh, what would a solemn column look like? Yes, Darshika.
You told 19 and 20. I think it's 20 and 21.
Nope, it sounds like you've got an extra in there somewhere. 19 and 20 are column and columns.
Oh.
We'll go over them again at the end, but I think you might have misnumbered or maybe you wrote a word twice.
Okay, yeah. I'll try to see if I missed something.
Okay. 19 is column, 20 is columns. Darshika, you can make those words 20 and 21 for you and then just keep going. You'll just have 30 words instead, and then whenever you find the difference, we'll fix it from before.
Yeah.
When I look at your papers to grade them, I don't really care about what number it is. I'm just looking at each word to be spelled correctly. So it's okay if yours are in a little bit of a different order.
Yeah.
Number 21 is desire, which means what you want. Desire. Princess Irene had a desire to fulfill her promise to Curdy, right? Desire. Krish, do you know the next word?
May I go with desirable?
That's correct.
And
You
also,
always make it
Netra
sound
was
like a
showing.
game show.
Yeah, and also Netra was showing all the answers.
Oh, you know what? She wasn't thinking of that, but that's a good point. Nethra, you had such a cute little drawing, but let's keep the paper down since it's a spelling test. Okay?
Sorry.
You're okay. So yes, Krish is correct that it's desirable. Word 22 is desirable. Desirable is used as an adjective to describe something that people want. Now, word 23 is extreme. Extreme. Next up, oh, very cute, Tricia. Let's hold off on those drawings, though. Oh, nice, Shatish. I have a notebook almost identical to that with all the constellations. That's so cool.
This is my guitar diary.
Oh, your guitar diary. Nice. Next up is image number 24. We've got to keep pushing forward. 24, image. And 25, Tricia?
Imagine.
Correct, imagine. 25, imagine. So 24, image. 25, imagine. 26, imagine. Saisanov?
Imagination.
Correct. Imagination. Imagination. 26. Sai, what's word 27? Do you know it?
I know the next three words.
Whoa.
Dependent, independent, and yoke.
Whoa, good job. Okay, we'll slow it down for everybody else who's not quite as sped up as Sai over there. He just has always the list memorized, it seems. 27 is dependent. Dependent. 28, independent. Independent. And finally, last word of the whole spelling list is yolk, like an egg yolk. Okay, let's go over all of them from the beginning. And even if you're not missing anything, this is a great time to double check that your spelling looks correct. Arjun?
This is not about spelling, but can I say it?
No, we're going to hold off on anything other than spelling right now. So we're done with the test. Okay, word 1, principal, like the principal of a school. Need all of you to check your spelling. Word 2, principal, like our honor code has principles to live by. Word 3, testimony. Word 4, discuss. Word 5, discussion. Word 6, arrange. 7, arrangement. 8, reference. 9, evidence. 10, experience. 11, secretary. 12, career. 13, session. 14, height. 15, weight. 16, apparent. 17, campaign. 18, serial. 19, column. 20, columns. 21, desire. 22, desirable. 23, extreme. 24, image. 25, imagine. 26, imagination. 27, dependent. 28, independent. And 29, yolk, like an egg yolk. Okay, that is all of the words. I'll open up the chat in case you still need something repeated, but hopefully you guys are all about done. Rihanna, number 15, weight, as in how much somebody weighs.
Miss Gangna, I think I figured out why I got, because I miswrote the numbers.
Yes, I figured that was it. That happens. Okay, 16, 17, 18. Apparent. Campaign. Did you get that, Rashi? Apparent, campaign, and serial. Okay. Anybody else write it in the chat if you need something repeated. Or take a little nap like Devansh.
I think this is the Big Dipper.
Oh my goodness. It's the Big Dipper is part of that. You're right. Saisanov, number 11 is secretary. You remember what Big Dipper is part of, Shatij?
What do you mean?
It's part of a bigger constellation. Do you remember what it is?
The Little Dipper?
No, good guess. Ursa Major. That's the one that connected. We had a Native American myth about it.
Oh.
Ursa Major. It means big bear. Ursa Major.
Is it this one up here? I don't know. There's so many.
I think it's the big one.
Yeah.
This is the biggest one I have.
That one looks quite different than what I would usually see. I think it's just slightly off. Can you hold it up one more time? Yep, that's it. It just looks a little different than I usually see it. Okay, boys and girls, let's do one more recitation of Father William. And I'm going to assume that nobody else needs words repeated since nobody's writing them in the chat. Everybody else put hands down for now. We'll have Rashi and Darshika say the poem. And make sure that you put these papers in a safe spot to upload to BrightThinker later. I sent a message to your parents about this, but all of those PDF files, for some reason, I'm having to download them to be able to view them, which makes it so that I can't grade what I see because I have to go back and forth. So hopefully your parents saw that message and are able to help you to upload it as something different if you've been doing the PDF. Okay, girls. Would you like to be father or son, Darshika?
Can I be father?
You want to be father? Darshika, what do you want to be? Son? You're good with that?
I'm okay with anything.
Okay, so Darshika's going to start since she's the son.
You are old, Father William, and the young man said, and your hair has become very white, and you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right?
In my youth, said
Father William replied to his son.
Said Father William replied to his son. I
feared it might injure the brain.
I feared it might injure the brain. But now I'm perfectly sure that I have none. Why I do it again and again?
You are old, Father William, the young man, as I mentioned before, and you have grown uncommonly fat. Yet you done a somersault at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that?
In my youth, said the sage as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. By the use of this ointment, 1 shilling in the box. Allow me to sell you a supple?
Sell you a couple?
You are old, Father William, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, what is the reason for that?
Pray, how did you manage to do it?
Pray, how did you manage to do it?
Good.
In my youth, said
Said his father, I took to the law.
said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, which gave
The muscular strength which it gave to my jaw.
which gave the muscular strength that gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life.
Good.
You are old, Father William, and one who could suppose that your eyes as steady as ever, that you can balance the ear on the tip of your nose. Pray, how did you manage to do it?
What made you so awfully clever?
What made you so awfully clever?
I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough. Don't give yourself airs.
Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff?
Do you think I can listen all day for such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs.
Nice job, girls. Father and son, give them a hand. Well done. Well, let's start going over the things that you have on Bright Thinker for today. We will spend some time going over the science review and your math test. You've got a Princess and the Goblin test, your roots, along with anything else that you have. So I'm going to present my screen over to Bright Thinker at this point. Arima, do you have a question?
Could you reassign my math test? I forgot to finish a question.
Your math test, I would be happy to. Please email me about it as well, since a lot of times I'll forget by the end of class. But once again, as I mentioned to somebody earlier, usually if I see a blank question, then I automatically reassign it, since I can tell you didn't mean to submit it blank, it was an accident. Okay. So let's start going over everything that's on Bright Thinker. And if anybody else has questions about reassigning something, please email it to me instead, okay? So let's begin with literacy, since it's literacy class. On your to-do list for today, in well-ordered language, you've got some pages of a little poem to review, and I want you to find prepositions in the poem. Who already finished that assignment? A few people? Okay, so it's just a short little poem. It's something just to read, find prepositions, and then just think about your answers for the questions on the next page. You don't have to write them down, but just think about the answers to them. Let's go over what those prepositions are one time. That is what you're looking for in the song. In the poem. Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, among, around, preposition words. Before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, at, by, preposition words. Down, during, except for, from, inside, in, into, near, preposition words. Of, off, on, out, outside, over, past, since, through, preposition words. Throughout, to, toward, under, up, until, upon, with, within, without, underneath. Preposition words. Preposition words. Preposition words. There are 47 in total from our book. I think we have time for a couple of people to try saying them. Krish, would you like to do that?
Okay, can you count?
Yes. Everybody help me count up how many Krish can do.
Aboard, above a crafter against a long among, around. Not preposition words. Before, behind, beside, between, beyond, at, by. During, down, during, except, into, in, near, except, into, near, throughout, through, toward, under, up until, out, out, near, not, underneath, through, I think that's all.
Good. I think that was 30, right?
Yeah.
That was great. Okay, who has not had a chance to say the prepositions yet? I don't know if Nethra's had a chance yet. Let's hear from her as well. How many do you think you can do, Nethra?
Above, about. With, underneath, of, off, under, at, by. Just saying the things that come to my mind.
Good. I would recommend learning them in the order of the song. I think that's the easiest way, because with all 47, there needs to be kind of a system in place. And so for it to be in alphabetical order, I think it's going to be easiest. Do you want to try it for us next week, Nethra?
Okay.
Okay, Saisanov, I'll have you as the last one for today. Let's see how many Saisanov can do.
Aboard, about, after,
How many A
beyond.
prepositions?
After, at, by, beyond, under, underneath, with, within, into, until, near.
14 so far.
That's all I can do.
Oh, that's good, Saisanov. Okay, I hope you guys are starting to memorize them more and more. Ahana and Sai will get to you next week. Who thinks they know maybe more than 30? Krish got 30. Ahana, you think you know more? Ahana, do you think you have it memorized altogether?
I want to see my own score again.
Maybe.
Okay, you've got a few more days to practice, and then I'll make sure that you do it sometime next week for us, and I hope that you have all 47 memorized by then. Remind me on Tuesday. I'll have you do it for us on Tuesday, okay? Okay, boys and girls, that is well-ordered language for today. You also have your last cursive letters that you're going to learn today. How many of you did that one already? Great. So at this point, you hopefully have memorized or have learned all of the cursive lowercase and capital letters and can write your name and any sentence you would choose to write in cursive. We are done with the cursive alphabet. So from next week and moving forward, we are going to just work in cursive to our literacy time. So we'll have times of practice, and sometimes on Bright Thinker, I'll post something for you to write in cursive. But we can write whole sentences now. Okay, and roots. With it being an unusual week since we had snow days and no document camera and shorter classes and everything for the last couple days, we have not done roots together. Hopefully, many of you have finished the flashcards from that posting on Bright Thinker. How many of you have done that? Good. If possible, take the quiz today, reviewing last week's roots and this week's roots. If you don't feel ready for that quiz, if you maybe are just finishing up the cards today, that's okay. You can take the quiz early next week, like Monday or Tuesday maybe. Okay? Arjun, you have a question about that?
No, it's a different thing.
Okay, and I will take a look at this to make sure that there is a match for everything. Oh, it looks like there should be.
So can I tell what I was going to?
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know because I don't know if this is okay. So this Wednesday, we are going to Charlotte to visit the house. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think we'll be there. So Wednesday, I might not be able to do the live session, and I'll see it on YouTube if I cannot, or I might just be able to do half of the session.
Okay, good question, Arjun. Ask your parents to send me an email about it. Oh, there's quite an echo. Thank you. Ask your parents to send me an email about it. And that's happened for students before. If you can do the schooling from North Carolina, then you won't be counted as absent. And then if you can't do school in North Carolina, like joining our sessions, like you said, you can watch the video on YouTube later. But you will be counted as absent if you're not in our session together. Okay? So it'd just be like if you were to miss a day of school and still have to make up the work later, just like that. Moving on to our other assignments for today. In literature, just one assignment. You've got your sorry, not McCall-Crabs. We're over there in that folder. But Princess and the Goblin. We are taking our test on it today, and it looks almost identical to that review that I went over in the video yesterday. So the questions are, I would say, very straightforward. Hopefully you feel very confident about that. Some of the questions are the same from quizzes too. Okay. This putting the events in order from first to the last. We've only done this a few times this year. Do you guys understand how to do that? With the arrows, you want the first thing, you would draw or push the arrows until it's at the very top. Which of these events is the first in the story? Sai?
Like, how do you put the order? Is the top the first or the bottom the first?
The top is the first. Okay. So Sai, could you tell me which of these sentences is the first one that happens in the story?
Irene sees her grandmother in the upper room, great-great-grandmother.
Okay, so Irene discovers her great-great-grandmother in an upper room. So you would press the up arrow until it's the first sentence, okay? And then whatever happens next, you would make the next sentence. So you draw these arrows to go up, and then you press these ones to go down, okay? So kind of like that. Then character matching, that's pretty straightforward. These are the same questions actually from the quiz that you took last week. A bunch of multiple choice questions. In the review yesterday, I walked you through some possible answers. These are multiple choice though, so you'll just choose which of the four is the best answer. Some of them have more than one option. Like this one says answers A and B, first two, meaning was the gift a ring and the thread? If so, then you would choose that. If it's just a ring, you would just choose ring. If it's just the thread, you choose that. Or if it's just the moonlight light. Okay, so that's kind of different. Here's some longer response for how she shows faith. Remember to talk about her faith in her grandmother, right? Even if people doubt her and people say, oh, that's not true, Irene believes in her the whole time. And I say at the top, faith means believing in things even if you can't see it. So keep that in mind. Explain how Irene shows the honor code throughout the book so you can talk about her showing excellence, service, perseverance, honor, respect. Give two examples. And then Curdy, how does he show the honor code? And what was your favorite part of the book? So tell me something that you liked. Maybe you thought it was funny or sweet, whatever it might be. Okay, any questions about this test? Krish?
What did you mean? What did you like best about this book? What was your favorite part? They're both the same questions. I don't know what you meant by that.
It is the same question. I just was phrasing it in a different way so you could understand what to do.
Yeah, I got confused.
So, what did you like about it? As in, what is your favorite part? Yes, Netra?
And also, do we have to explain why we like it?
The grandmother.
You can, but you don't have to.
The grandmother did give another gift. The gift for Irene to see her.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, she gave Irene that gift. Not everybody did. But since that's not one of the options, choose what would be the next best option. Okay?
Okay.
But that's a great point. Sai?
I don't have a favorite part, but I like a character.
Okay, so you can write about a character. Yeah, so the favorite part is just one idea of something that maybe you would do. Like maybe you would say, I like when the goblins are talking about human feet. Maybe you thought that was a funny part. Or you like the battle scene between the goblins and Curdy leading the humans. Or maybe you like the conversations between Irene and her grandmother, or when she goes to Curdy's mom. Some sweet moments like that. So Sai, well, who's your favorite character that you're going to write about?
Grandmother Irene, because she was mysterious.
She is a very mysterious woman. I would always want to know more and more about her because she's so interesting. Okay, so that is your Princess and the Goblin test. Next week, we are going to start our brand new book, Farmer Boy, which I have right here in front of me. This is a wonderful story that goes with the Little House in the Big Woods series. So for those of you who were at the school last year, you read Little House in the Big Woods. Do you remember that? So Farmer Boy is about this little boy named Almanzo who ends up marrying Laura from Little House in the Big Woods. It doesn't happen in this story because this is just when he's a young boy, but in real life, he and Laura ended up getting married, and that's why she's the author of this. She is telling his story of when he was a little boy. So Laura is the writer of this whole series, Laura Ingalls Wilder, and Wilder, that's her name from this boy, Almanzo, and it's the story of his childhood. So it's got some really fun, interesting things about what it was like to be a farmer in the 1800s, living in New York. New York makes you probably think of the big city, but he was a farmer. So it's a really great story. I love this one. Arima?
Will there be any making cheese in the story?
Oh, good question. That definitely was part of Little House in the Big Woods since they're in Wisconsin. But this one, I don't think it gets into cheese making. What did you think of that in the other book?
It's very sad that they kill baby cows.
I know. So there are definitely some sad parts about farming that this book gets into as well. Was that a tough part of the book to read last year? Yeah. It would be very tough to be in a farming family if you love animals and see them killed. I'm sure that would be really difficult. So we'll see some things kind of like that in this book, but it's a good picture of what life is really like for farmers back then in the 1800s, but a lot of farmers still have to do these things today. But it's good for us. We get all of our food that way. Devansh? Although I know for a lot of you, you're vegetarians or don't eat meat from cows, and so it's very different for you, I know. Yes, Devansh?
So in Farmer Boy, in the picture, you can see these cows. They're wearing the yoke.
You're right. Yeah, the cover has the cows yoked together. So we'll hear about that. Almanzo loves his cows. He treats them really well, and you'll see that he loves these two little cows, and we'll learn their names. They're like his pets almost. So if that part made you sad in Little House in the Big Woods, it's okay. The cows are much more important and kind of like pets in this story.
And also, for like when you were for spelling, you were saying that you only check if we wrote the spelling right for principal and principal since they're homophones. How will we know you?
That's a good point. I would take off points if those are in a different order because you have to know which word to use based off of the definition. Okay, let's continue on. I see a few other questions, but want to get into our next assignments. If you've got other questions and comments about Farmer Boy, we'll definitely get into it next week. Tuesday will be our first day reading this story. But if you have your own book, you can start reading ahead if you want. In history, I will, after class today, post the optional weaving activity that you've got quite a long time to complete. Ask your parents if you have some yarn that you could use, or maybe they could buy some from Walmart or Hobby Lobby. And I think it would be a really fun activity for you. So I hope you get to do it and share with the class next week what you made. But it's just optional because I know some of your parents can't get yarn or don't have any. And then finally, science and math. Let's get into those two assignments. For science today, you've got an astronomy study guide or review to go through. Tuesday, I'll go over the answers to this, by the way. So if you are unclear about why you got certain things wrong, I'll go over the answers on Tuesday so that you're prepared for the test on Wednesday. Okay? And then on Thursday, we'll continue our astronomy unit just a little bit more. And on Friday, we'll start a new science unit on how light waves work, how we're able to perceive light. We'll be talking about the science behind how our eyes work and how light waves come to us. So that's what we'll be doing next week. For this review, the first part is pretty straightforward. Name the planets in order from the sun. Who can give me all 8 in the order of first being closest to the sun to the furthest away from the sun being the last one? Dricia, could you give it to us? All 8.
So not the dwarf.
Yes, not the dwarf planets.
I
Good
don't know
question.
the dwarf planets in order, so I'm like, no.
That's okay. Just list the 8 regular planets, not dwarf planets.
Mercury.
Everybody else try to do it along with her.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune.
Perfect. So just type them out. Next, why does Earth experience 4 seasons? Answer in complete sentences. As I saw a lot of you write about in the quiz, has to do with the tilt on its axis. And talk about how the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere have different seasons. Krish, could you say in your own words what an example of an answer for this might be?
Yeah, and in the thing I wrote like a paragraph. So first,
Whoa.
Earth experienced 4 seasons because Earth is tilted, and Earth is separated by the line called equator. That makes 2 separate parts called northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. When the northern hemisphere faces the sun, that is summer for us. When the when the northern hemisphere gets most of the sunlight, then the southern hemisphere, that is summer for us. When the southern hemisphere gets more sunlight than the northern hemisphere that we live in, that is winter for us. When both of the hemispheres get the same amount of sunlight, that is fall and winter.
Fall and spring. That is a wonderful explanation, Krish.
Yeah,
Everyone give him a hand. That was great example of a complete answer that explains it very well and excellent full sentences. So give an answer like Krish's. That would be wonderful to get full credit for that question. Then there's going to be questions about each of the planets. Feel free to use your notes for this review. Or if I were you, I would do as many as I can without looking. And then whatever questions you have left, open up your science notebook and check the answers for. This is not a test, so you can use your notes for it, okay? For example, which planet is a rocky inner planet with a thin atmosphere and 2 moons? Does anybody know the answer? Shatish?
Well, the answer of this is Mars, and you made one mistake. You said
I can't hear you very well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
In this one it's Mars, and you made
Correct.
one mistake. You said what is the name of our solar system, but I think you meant to type what is the name of our galaxy.
You are correct. I'll change that question. I was using Mrs. Campbell's review, and so I wasn't, let's see, wasn't thinking about this one. Let's see where it would be.
I think maybe that one, in the constellation one, little bit down. Yeah, I think it's this one.
Okay, so Milky Way is the name of our galaxy. Oh, you are correct. It says solar system. It should not say that. So I apologize for that, boys and girls. If any of you were making a mistake on that, that is the name of our galaxy. Our solar system is within the Milky Way, but that's not the name of our solar system. Okay, good question about that. So yes, for this one, for example, Mars is the one with 2 moons. It's a rocky inner planet. For drawing and labeling the lunar cycle, what I would suggest doing is clicking image, and you can capture an image if you draw it on your whiteboard. It should be clear enough for me to see. Or you can attach an image just as we normally would do by taking a picture, maybe with your parent's phone, and then uploading it, okay? You could try drawing it, but I would not recommend that because there's going to be a bunch of circles and you have to label all of the different phases. I think that sounds too difficult for the draw feature. I would, if I were you, draw it on a whiteboard and then just take a picture of it, because the marker on your whiteboard is going to be really clear. Whenever you draw pictures like for bar models on your whiteboard, it's really clear, so I can see all of the phases that way, and it's going to be a little faster than uploading an image. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of these, but all of these should be within your science notebook, all of these answers. Again, I recommend doing as much as you can without looking at your notes, and then whatever questions you're left with, then take a look at your notes just for those. That's a good way to challenge yourself to come up with things from your memory as much as possible, and then just check for the things that you're a little bit unsure of. Tuesday, we'll go over the answers. So I'll have probably a short video posted so that I walk through the answers to each of the questions, and I'll go over if there are mistakes like that one about the solar system name. And then for the test on Wednesday, the questions will line up almost exactly. And for the test on Wednesday, you won't use your notes, but you can use your notes today. Okay, questions about science. Krish and Devansh and Rihanna.
In the science, could we read our notes before we do the review?
Yes,
could we read
absolutely.
all our notes?
Great question. Yeah, if you want to do it all from memory, then you might take a look at all of your astronomy notes from the past several weeks. And then once you're done looking over the notes, start that review. Great question. Devansh?
It's not really a question, but it's like a comment that if you memorize how many moons each planet has, then you can kind of figure out what the planet is, because every planet has a different number of moons.
That's a great point. Yeah, you could think about the number of moons. And for example, the inner planets are small and don't have many moons at all, including like Mercury and Venus not having them. So it helps to know the number of moons to be able to quickly identify which one it's talking about.
That for Mercury and Venus, like you said, there's 0 moons, so you might need to look at the atmosphere.
Yeah, good point. To be able to tell the difference between Mercury and Venus, you might need to think about the atmosphere. Okay, question from Darshika and Rihanna. Great suggestions from Devansh and Krish. These are wonderful suggestions for the best way to prepare.
So, Miss Garna, I have a question, and I don't know what you mean by Earth, Moon, and Sun interact together to work as a systems, and I don't know about like how do we do that.
Okay, I think I added on a little bit extra to help you for this one, but basically, like the tides are affected by the moon's gravitational pull on us. That is one of the ways that it's affected by us working all together as a system. Seasons are also affected by that. And the eclipses, solar and lunar eclipses, are affected by, depending on where they're placed, we have a different view of the moon. We could have a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, depending on those three, the sun, the moon, and the earth, and where they are in relation to each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can talk a little bit about each one of those.
Yeah.
When they're in a different position in relation to each other, there are certain things that happen for us, like those ones that are mentioned.
So if we put one of those, is that enough? So should we put 3 or 4s? Like,
you know what? Do your very best, and then on Tuesday, my video will hopefully answer the questions as best as possible. Okay. I think, yes, for that one, I said like think of tides and eclipses. That would be a good thing to work into your answer. I think that about covers it for that astronomy review. I didn't want to go over all of the questions, but I will on Tuesday when I do that review video going over the answers. Now on to math. This is our last assignment to go over for today. How many of you already finished the bar model test today? Good. Hopefully you are feeling pretty confident about the bar models, because these questions are almost exactly like what you saw in your homework yesterday and in Tuesday's review. The numbers and names are just a little different. Okay, so here is the bar model test. The first section is just matching. Remember that the calculation, when it says what type of calculation do you need, it means are we going to divide or multiply? Okay. So for example, this one says a story problem that gives 4 rooms with 20 students in each room. Picture that, 4 rooms. Each room has 20 students. What will our calculation be to try to figure out the total number of students? So calculation means, are we going to multiply or divide? It could also mean add or subtract, but those are not options for this right now. We're just talking about multiplying or dividing. Can you show me with your arms? Is it multiply or divide? If we've got 4 rooms, each with 20 students, and we want to know how many students are in all. We want to know the total number of students if we have 4 groups of 20. 4 groups of 20 Multiply. 4 groups of 20 is 4 times 20. Remember reading our multiplication problems as groups of? Also, we're trying to find a bigger number. We're trying to find how many students are there in all of those rooms. So we would multiply.
You could also divide 4 divided by 20.
No, we wouldn't want to divide 4 by 20. Multiplying is the only thing that would work for that problem if we've got 4 groups of 20 and we want to find out what is it all together. Okay, we use a blank bar model when we have the total number. We have the total number and just one part, looking for the other part. What kind of bar model is that if we have a total number and we have one part, but we're looking for another? What kind of bar model? Is it comparison or part whole? Part whole. That's the type of bar model it is. So you would say part whole for that one. A story problem that gives us a total number of 72 and divides, that's already telling you what it's going to be, divides the total amount into 8 equal parts. What's the calculation going to be? Is it division or multiplication? That's right, it already tells us divide. Oh my goodness, that made it too easy. It says we're going to divide into equal groups. And finally, keywords like twice as many or 5 times as many tells us which one are we going to do, comparison or part whole? Comparison or part whole? 2 bars or 1 bar? 2 bars, that's right, we're going to compare. Whenever you see times as many, those are keywords that tell you you're going to compare. Okay, for these story problems, there are 4 points per problem. If you have all of these 4 things done correctly, you'll get all 4 points. If you have 3 of them done correctly, you'll get 3 out of 4 points. Okay, so you do get partial credit for these. It says Cynthia has 3 times as many strawberries as Lucy. Lucy has 7 strawberries. How many strawberries does Cynthia have? Okay. You'll need to draw the right bar model. That's part 1. Label the bar model. Do your work even if it's mental math like 2 plus 2 equals 4. You still have to write what you're doing. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay? So please write out that calculation and then write your final answer sentence. That's how you get all 4 points. We've got some handy features here to do our bar models. You can insert an image. Like this, you could hold up a whiteboard with your bar model. This is usually really, really clear. If you have marker on your whiteboard, I can see really easily what your bar model looks like. You could also go to insert image and right here, upload an image. And that is going to be done exactly like we usually upload something like your spelling tests, a picture of your spelling test. Okay, or you can use the draw feature. Some of you I know really like that, and for other people, you have a harder time with it, so it's up to you to either draw it like this or on paper and upload a picture, or use the draw feature, okay? The only 2-part problem that you have is down here at the bottom, and I have it split up as 2 questions, okay? Farmer A has twice as many pumpkins as Farmer B. They have 36 pumpkins in all. First one is how many pumpkins does Farmer B have? And then you can solve for how many pumpkins Farmer A has. So you need to draw a bar model for each of these to get full points. Okay? Any questions about math? Okay. Boys and girls, you have a 4-day weekend. I hope that you all really enjoy your days off. No school for you Friday, tomorrow, and no school Monday either. Enjoy some relaxing time at home. Maybe you can cuddle up by the fire reading a good book, or have a movie night, or play some games with your family. Is anybody looking forward to some days like that?
Today, it's just the third quarter. It's not even over yet, and I'm almost about to finish Percy Jackson
Your
1.
book report? Oh, fabulous. Who else
Me
is
too.
making good
I
progress on their book
already
report?
did it. I finished the whole series of the last book.
Reading groups or no?
Yes, we are going to do a short reading group together. And I especially want to do it today since we're not going to do it on Monday since there's no school.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Okay, I'll talk to everybody else on Tuesday. Enjoy your days off.
Bye.
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 I'm gonna finish